Hello and welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my review of, should get the right year on here, 2022's, 2022's The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves in 4K UHD. Alright, we talked about the plot of the film, the Real's opinion of the film, my opinion of the film, talk a little bit about some of the stuff you may not know about the film. If there is any to talk about. There's a couple of things I think you might find them interesting. Give the film a ranking. Alright, so punchline: revolutionary, electric, and then exhilarating. Yeah, okay. A killer targets Gotham's elite, sending the Batman on an investigation as evidence mounts. He must forge new relationships, unmask the Commonwealth, and bring justice amidst corruption. All right. Well, the Real's opinion of the Batman. They actually liked this one. In fact, the Real liked this movie so much that it was nominated for multiple Oscars. We live in a golden age of Oscars, it seems, these days. More and more so, movies that deserve to be nominated are being nominated. And believe it or not, Matt Reeves' The Batman actually was nominated for several Oscars in 2023. I found that very, very interesting. So yeah, the Real definitely did like The Batman. Now, a lot of people, you talk about The Batman, kind of take a look at this movie is sort of like taking Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt out of New Line Cinema's psychological horror film Seven and replacing them with Batman. And now we go into my opinion. I kind of agree with that. In fact, I did mention when I went to the second review I was doing this month with Batman v Superman, saying that Ben Affleck's my second favorite actor to play the Dark Knight, Batman. There's only really one reason why my second favorite is not Robert Pattinson. It's because he hasn't played him enough times for me to make that assessment. But what I found very, very cool about this movie is that this is probably the closest thing we're ever going to get to a Batman movie being a psychological horror film, because that's what this movie is. This is it's not really much of a superhero movie. This is more of a psychological horror film made in the vein of films like Seven and Zodiac and stuff like that. The villain in this movie is insanely terrifying. The imagery in this movie, the adult themes in this movie. This movie is so dark themed and so psychologically violent and stuff like that, and goes to dark places, that I can guarantee you that this film right here is just barely PG-13. Now I don't even know how the hell this is PG-13 film. This film really ought to be rated R, because there's some pretty pretty grisly things that happen in this movie. And let's talk about the portrayal of Robert Pattinson is Batman. Um, I actually like his portrayal. Like I said, I can't rank him as the second best Batman because I haven't seen him play him enough to make that assessment. So with Ben Affleck, I was just judging just Batman v Superman only, then yeah, I would have not put him at number two. Would have been somebody else, probably like Christian Bale at number two. But you have his cameo in Suicide Squad. His role in Justice League, both versions, as well as the Flash movie, which we just called it Flashpoint movie, but whatever. We'll get to that. But all you have with Robert Pattinson is this one movie. Now, as a Batman movie, a standalone Batman movie, this is, to me, the second best Batman movie. Now let's go ahead and talk about one thing that people don't really know, and this is kind of cool. And this right here is why Hollywood should listen to actors that have a desire to play a character, like a childhood dream or something along those lines. Robert Pattinson's dream, one of his biggest dreams that he thought he could never achieve, was playing Batman. And he achieved his dream. And it shows. It shows all over this movie that he had a passion for this character and wanted him portrayed, from a fanboy's point of view. And Robert Pattinson's younger than I am by, I say, about maybe 8 years or something like that. And I can tell you that he was influenced by Batman the way I was influenced by Batman. You see, I'm not a fan of the Adam West word show. I think it's absolute garbage. I know it might piss a lot of people off when I say that, but to me, unlike Superman or Wonder Woman, every single movie that has had Batman in it has been a dark, gritty world, and that's what makes Tim Burton's Batman the best Batman movie, and that's what makes this the second best Batman movie, is the fact that it stays consistently like that. And people say that the superhero movie was born with, the perfect example of a superhero movie is Richard Donner's Superman. I agree to a point, but you gotta take a look at what year it was, how things that were done back in 1978, and compare it to how things are done since 1989. Because of the success of Tim Burton's Batman in 1989, every single DC movie has been a gritty, dark movie. The only light, friendly DC films have always and always probably will be the 4 Christopher Reeve Superman movies. What they did with 1989 kind of shaped the DC universe forever. Now let's go ahead and talk about the cinematography, because that's something that I really like about this. Nothing against Zack Snyder, but and I love that. I love the dark grittiness of the cinematography that Zack Snyder has, but there's just something a little more out-of-really about it. This right here is just a very dark, more gothic, more gritty type of look of a movie. And that kind of reminds me again of the 1989 landmark Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, directed by Tim Burton. They kind of had the same thing. It had this the sense of dread, the sense of using grain as a character in the framing, in the filming of the film. You have this grain, the sense of dread to that grain, but while kind of looking like film, but being executed so well. I think the 4K and the HDR10 in this really do kind of accentuate that in a very, very big way. But you don't have to watch it in 4K to get that sense of dread, that sense of gothicness that you have in the dark atmospheric ambience of the cinematography of the Batman can be seen on any way you watch it. And that alone is a character in the film, and that's part of what makes this film so great too. Now let's go ahead and give the film a ranking. This gets a solid 4 stars from me. Great Batman movie. If we ever get the Batman Part 2, and Robert Pattinson does a wonderful job, like he did in this movie, he will definitely be moving up to number 2 place. This is my second favorite Batman. Great cinematography, great sound design, great picture. Overall, just in a very enjoyable time. Perfect in every way, in my opinion. Very faithful to the source material. I like how it goes ahead and has like a combination of being like a darker, grittier, more Frank Miller version of the character while being the Detective Series Bob Kane version. You know, the world's greatest detective version of the character. And one thing I really love about this movie is there's very little screen time in the movie to where we see Bruce Wayne. He's always Batman throughout the entire movie, and that's something that's really cool too. Well, 4 stars. This is a downright perfect movie in every ounce, every avenue. So Fu says, definitely check this one out, and don't listen to people that are on this whole, oh, he's a sparkling vampire from Twilight, I'm not gonna like. Forget about that and just watch the movie, and you will have a fun time, guaranteed. And I will see you guys next time for my review of a film that I have diverse opinions on, and that is Black Adam. That's what we come up next, but not tonight. Probably tomorrow. Until then.